This video is part of a series. Complete the previous videos in this playlist before you start this video. The complete playlist information, the material and the code file information is given in the video description below.
There is another type of indexing called Boolean indexing. Boolean indexing means, let us suppose if you want to access particular values in age, or if you want to access particular values in an array, you give the index. You can also try something called Boolean index. Boolean stands for what? Whenever you hear the term Boolean, you have to remember there is something called true, there is something called false. That means you can give a condition. So here we are getting the age value. Let's age is an array. So you have age 30 years, age 45 years, age 56 years, age 38 years, age 21 years, like that you have age. This is index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, etc., etc. Now, if you want to access particular value of age, we are giving index. What if I want to access particular value of age, if I give a condition, let us say all the customers whose age is greater than 35, that is what I want to access. They can be in any index. So here age greater than 35, this is one, this is one, this is one, but this fourth one is not. So this is not the one that I want to get. This is not the one that I want to get. Let us suppose this is 26. This is not the one. So I want to access those values or those locations of the data where age value is greater than 35. So what we will do is this, we will take as condition age greater than 35, those locations are true. Age less than 35, all the other locations are false. Wherever this condition is met, wherever this condition is true, that is what I want to access. So how do we do that? Let us go and try it using the code. Let's go to the code file. I'm pasting the code file once again in the chat window. Go to the code file, all of you. So what we need to do is first we have to get this data set. So what I'll do is import NumPy as NP. Only the first command I will execute. Execute the first command, import NumPy as NP. That command need to be executed. After that, the second command is about importing the data. These are the two cells that you have to execute. One is import NumPy as NP, which is the first command. The second command is import Pandas as PD and this data set, bank equal to pd.read_csv. These are the two commands that you have to execute. Two commands. Once again, check this. The first cell that you need to execute, and then the place where we are importing the data, arrays from DataFrames. If you want to easily get that, you can look at the table of contents on the left hand side. There is something called first command. You execute the first cell. Then you click on arrays from DataFrames, execute this command. That's it, these two commands. Please focus, all of you. Now I am accessing one column from the data frame. Let's say age is one column that I am accessing. np.array, and from bank is the data frame name or the data set name. In that one of the column is age. If I want to print bank, I can simply say bank is the data frame. In that data frame, a data frame is like a data set that we call in the outside world. In that data set, age is a column. I'm accessing only age, storing it in an array. Now I want to access all those customers. Earlier, I used to do the accessing using the indexes. Now I don't want to access using index. What I want to do is I want to access using a condition. I want to access all the customers whose age is less than 50. I want to access all the customers whose age is less than 50. So let me define something called condition. My condition is equal to age less than 50. Can you make a guess what will be the values in condition? Age less than 50 is what we have stored. Usually, if you store a condition like that, what will be the storage points in condition? It will be true, false, true, false. Boolean values will be stored in this. False, true, 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 false, true, false. What does false mean? In the array, the first value is 58. But what is your condition? Age less than 50. So is it false? Is it allowed? Is that correct?
No.
This
False.
false. Now age is 44. Condition is age less than 50. True. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
What about this one?
33.
True.
What about this one? Last three I'm talking about. False.
False.
False, false, true. Now, do you understand the values that are there in condition? Do they make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why there is false here? Why these are true? Why there are some false values? Why there are some true values? Is that clear? And remaining are given as ... That means likewise. That means if I'm showing you some initial few values, last few values, remaining are similar to this. That's what Python is saying. Now, what we want to do is from age, I want to create a new variable called a new age. This new age variable is considering all the age values, all the customers whose age is less than 50. I want to consider all the customers who are following this condition. So what I'll do is I will take age variable and then I will write my condition. What is the condition here? Condition is containing true, false, true, false, true, false. So if you try to print a new age, wherever there is true, only those values will be picked. Wherever there is false, those values will be ignored. Does that make sense? Because I have taken age, along with it, have I taken the complete age? No. Along with it, I have given a condition. What is a condition? Wherever it is true, that only need to be picked. Automatically, it will be done. When you give a condition, Boolean, which is true, false, automatically, whichever is false, that means 58 will be ignored, 72 will be ignored, 57 will be ignored. Like that, all those numbers which are less than 50 will be ignored, more than 50 will be considered. See, before 44, initially it is 44. Before 44, there was 58. What happened to that 58? Why new age doesn't consider 58? Explain me.
If the condition is false.
Condition is not met. After that, 33 is okay, 47, and then 23. If you see, last value is 37. Before that, there was a 57. We do not have it. Here, there was 25 only. The reason is condition not met. So that means if you see the actual shape of age dot shape, if I try to print age dot shape, the complete data will be there. New age dot shape, do you think the same shape will be there? Do you think the number of values or elements in age and new age, will they be same, or there would be some difference in the length of age and new age?
Different.
Definitely there will be difference, because new age contains only some values. Can you tell me, if somebody asks you to define what is new age variable, what does it contain? It contains the details of all the customers whose age is
It is
less than 50. So if you look at age variable, 45,211 rows are there. But new age variable having 35,017 elements are there. Now I have another question. Can you give me the count of customers whose age is greater than or equal to 50? Slightly twisted question. Can you give me the count of customers? Count of customers whose age is greater than or equal to 50. How many are there? How do you find it out? Tell me. How many?
Age minus new age.
So can I say 45,211 minus 35,007? Does that make sense? All of you check that out.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is overall number of records. These are all the customers whose age is greater than, these are all the customers whose age is less than 50. Now, if you want to know whomsoever is greater than 50, I just subtract them. So these many customers have age greater than or equal to 50. These many customers have age less than 50. These are the overall number of customers. Is there another way to do it? Is there another way to verify it? Instead of writing age less than 50, I can write age greater than or equal to 50 also. That is also fine. But here the objective is not really to find it out. The objective is to know this condition. Once you give, it generates something called true, false, and wherever this condition is met, that is the place where we are trying to access those values. Apparently, there are 35,000 such values where age is less than 50.
So how Python is validating, we do not need false condition, because in the first condition, we are seeing the false to true, and in the second condition, we are seeing only true.
So basically, even though it says condition, internally it is similar to age less than 50, isn't it? So when you say age less than 50, so whenever you give this kind of setup in an array, okay? So if you write an array here, in here, if you write a true, false Boolean value, it means that, like the way if you give an index, let us suppose if you're working with Python, if you give index 0 to 10, Python will automatically know that I have to get first 10, remaining all I have to ignore. That is a way to tell Python, isn't it? If you give the index values. But if you give the Boolean here, it is a way to communicate with Python that you collect only true, ignore the false indexes. Okay.
So by default, it is selecting the true, is it?
True. Because true is the condition that where it is meeting. So like the way you can think that as, let's say, the condition is met only for the first 10 rows. Okay. So what it will do is, for the first 10 rows indices, it will access. That means it is going to, like, this is a way of telling Python that the first index, 0 index, ignore. This one, include, exclude, include. Like that, it is taking those indices where true is present, then it is trying to give you. And how are we mentioning which index to take? By giving this true, false statements that way.
So how, let's suppose in some condition, if we need false value, so do we need to write another condition for this?
Now, there is one important piece of information I want to give you. For example, if you have an array, let's say I have created an array. Look at this, all of you. This is a slightly counterintuitive. We need to be a little careful with Python. Let us say if I created an array, np.array, and let me create a kind of two-dimensional array. That means it has rows and columns. Usually, for the sake of comfortness, I create the two-dimensional arrays like this. Let's say. Now, is this going to work? There is a small mistake that I have done. Can you highlight the mistake? I have given the first.
One more square bracket.
Perfect. One more square bracket on top of it I have to keep, because I have to mention two-dimensional array, and then within that I have given the rows. Now it's going to work. This is the array. Now what I'm going to do is, now if I want to know the shape of this, how many rows are there, how many columns are there, what is the command for it?
A dot shape.
A dot shape is going to give me that. So let me print A and then print A dot shape. Array is this, shape is 3, 4. Does that make sense? 3, 4. Is it making sense?
Yes, sir.
Now let me ask you a question. In my output, what I want is 2, 3, 6, 7. That is what I want in my output. 2, 3, 6, 7. Have you understood the question? Array A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 8, 6. This is the array. Out of that, I want 2, 3, 6, 7. Whenever you want to slice, I told you a procedure. Let's say I will write A, and then I write like this, and then 2, 3. So first you have to say, first one is row index, second one is column index. Row index is what? For getting 2, 3, 6, 7. So row index is what?
0 to 2. 0 to 2.
Since we have to get it 0 as well as 1, we have to write it 0 to
2.
2. Why we need to write 2? Because 2 is excluded. So 0 to 1 will be the first choice that we write, and then we realize that, then we get the output, then we realize that we made some mistake, and then quickly we will be changing it to 2. Initially that will happen for some time. Later on you will be changing it 0 to 2. All of you, are you with me on that? Why I have written 0 to 2?
Yes, sir.
Any confusion why I have written 0 to 2 in the rows section? Because those are the first two rows, including 0, excluding 2, that is 0 and 1. Shall I go to the column section? Now tell me, what are the column section? What are the column indices?
1, 2, 3.
1 to 3.
1 and 2 is required. If you want 1 and 2, you are supposed to write 1,
3.
2, 3.
3.
So if I write this, do you agree? 2, 3, 6, 7 will be printed. All of you, before I execute it, I want you to confirm. Have you understood why we wrote 0 to 2, 1, 2, 3 here? 2 access 2, 3, 6, 7. Are you confident the output will be throwing this only? Yes. So let's execute it. So it is 2, 3, 6, 7. Now imagine I'm storing it in something called B, array B. B is an array. So when I store it, it will not print anything, because that operation is just storing only. The shape of B is 2, 2. Does it make sense? Shape of B is 2, 2.
Yes.
Now here is the interesting fact. What I'm doing is B, the first element of B, I'm updating it to 20. What is the first element of B right now?
0, 0.
First element of B is 2. How do you access the first element? By using 0, 0. I updated it to 20. Or if I want to update this element, can you tell me what is the syntax? If I want to update this element, 3, I want to make it as 30. What is the syntax for it?
B01 equal to 30.
B01 makes sense. If I, what is, this is known as 0, 0, because row is 0, column is 0. This is row is 0, column is 1. Like that, what is this one? Row index is
1.
1, column index
0.
is 0.
0.
1, 0 makes sense, right? So I would say P0, 0, 0, 0 is equal to 20. Now this is the updated value of B. Now you have updated in B. You have sliced B from the original matrix. So this 2, 3, 6, 7 is what you have taken, and you updated B into 20. Now do you think A will be updated? Ideally,
No.
what should happen? A should get updated or not?
No.
It should not get updated. But in Python, there is a small twist here. Have I worked with A at all in this operation?
No.
Did I really intend to change A, or I want to play with the sliced one B only?
Only B.
I want to play with B only, but A got updated. Now that is against our will and wish, isn't it? Or if I try to update B11 element, what is B11 element right now? What is B11?
7.
7. If I want to update it to 70, if I see A, has it been updated? Yes or no? Is it updated in A as well? Original A is 7. It is now 70. Or let me say all this B, I want to update it to 100. B00 is 100. B11 is 100. B01 is 100. All of them. All the values of B, I want to update to 100. B of 10. is also 100. Now I have sliced B from A, 2, 3, 6, 7. But if you say A right now, has it been updated A also? Now, do you want this type of thing or you don't want such kind of thing when you're doing the analysis? Tell me honestly, is this a good thing to have or it's against our intuition?
Against our
We should not have it, isn't it? If you want to do any operations on A, you will be directly doing on A, isn't it? Why would you like to get in onto B and then A is getting updated automatically? We don't want it. So sometimes this unknowingly people tend to do it, thinking that I have already taken a slice of it. Whatever updates that I do here, the original array will not get affected. That goes in our mind, but the original array gets affected. That is why you need to be a little careful. What you need to be careful is when you are creating a slice of it, what you need to do is you have to say something called copy equal to true. When you are creating an array like this, you can create. Let me create B1 right now, a new array, B1. But the way that I'll create will be slightly different. I will write np.array, np.array, and then within that, I will use an extra command called copy is equal to true. So if you try to print B1, now this has been copied. So B1 is an additional array that is created. Shape of B1 is right now A contains 100, 100, 100, 100 here. Now if I change the values of B1, let me say B1, this 100 that you see here, I want to make it as 10. Can you tell me the command for that? So B1 0, 0, which is accessing that 0th row index, 0th column index, I want to make it as 10. Now if I look at B1, it will be 10, 100. Now according to our previous logic, A should get updated. Now, do you think A is going to get updated with this right now?
No.
No.
If I try to see that, it is still the same. Why? Because here we haven't taken the direct slice of A. What have we taken? We have used an extra option called copy equal to true. Sometimes the operations that you do it on a slice may impact the original underline array. You have to use something called copy equal to true if you do not want to impact the underline array. Actually, this was one of the interview questions that was asked to one of our students in a couple of interviews. It was like they could answer this because we know that once you make the changes in the slice of the array, it will automatically change the original array. How do you avoid it? The question was, how do you avoid if you change anything in the slice of the array, automatically it will change the array values also. How do you avoid it? The answer is we use something called array copy equal to true option. So it will create a copy and whatever changes that you make it here, it is not going to impact the underlying array. This is actually to save the memory space. Python is not allocating additional memory to B. So it is using the same memory as A and B. Due to that reason, whatever changes that you do it in B, automatically they are impacting A. So to avoid that, we are using copy equal to true. We are creating another copy in the memory. Then anything that you do it here will not be impacting the original array.
Sir, I have a question. So if we do not take copies equals to true, then that element which we are creating, the memory allocation on the backend is same as B for A. But if we take copies equals to true, then B1 memory allocation is different than A, right?
So you can think that as this is originally A, Python has just created some indexes for B. Okay, it did not really create another B element or something. Whereas here in B1, it will take out B1 and store it separately somewhere else.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Due to that reason, usually I generally suggest that as a maybe as a developer, it may be a good idea to save the memory, etc., to make it much faster. Usually the process that you must follow is copy equal to true, because any operations that you do on a slice, you don't want to impact the original array. So as a standard, you can follow this one. Okay, always try to take a slice and make sure that you use the option copy equal to true everywhere. Okay, that is the most safest and the most accurate option. Okay.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, B is sliced from A.
Yeah.
So in case of B1, if we put B equals to 0, 2, and 1 is to 3, and then put copy equals to true, and then print B1, so will A be affected after that? I mean, because
Whenever
B
you say copy equal to true, it is almost like creating a new element. B1 is an independent array altogether, which is independent of A. Okay. So A will not be affected if we say copy equal to true. When you are creating B1, if you say copy equal to true, A will not be affected at all from whatever operations that you see here. So for example, we have created B1 here, which is from A only.
Yes, sir.
And now I have updated B1. Check this. So right now, Right now, this is B1. I have updated B1. It has been accessed from A only, but A is still the same.
Okay,
Whereas, if you try to do it with B, now let me update B. Let us suppose if I say B of 0, 0 equal to 10. If I write this, since there is no copy equal to true, do you think A will be updated in this operation?
yes, sir.
So if I
Yes.
go back to A, if I check that, A has been updated. Check this. So whenever you say copy equal to true, the underline array will not be impacted. Whenever you do not use copy equal to true, the underline array will be affected. That is the major point in that discussion. Now, sometimes we want to create some blank arrays. They are known as initial placeholders. For example, I want to create a matrix. Let's say when you're doing the programming, you want to create a matrix and then fill the values of that matrix during the programming. Or when you're writing a loop, you will create a blank array and then you want to fill them. In those cases, or if you want to create random numbers, or if you, like NP or NumPy package is used very frequently in creating random numbers or generating some random numbers, which will be used in further programs later on. Let us suppose if I want to create a matrix which is of size 3 by 4. And if I want to print all zeros in it, you can write np.zeros or np.zeros and whatever is the size of it. Let's say 3 cross 4 matrix. So this is a matrix which is having 3 cross 4. How many rows are there? 3 rows. How many columns are there? 4 columns. So it will have all zeros, which are 3 cross 4 matrix filled with all zeros. If you want to create a matrix with all zeros, which is 5 cross 5, what is the syntax? If I want to create a 5 by 5 matrix, np.zeros, I would say 5 cross 5, 5 comma 5. I don't really need to tell you all this because maybe when there is a need, if you want to create an array of 5 cross 5 or a matrix of 5 cross 5 filled with all zeros, if you search for it in the internet, maybe within 1 or 2 links, you should be able to get this code. Not every piece of command we need to cover here. Let us suppose if you want to fill it with ones. Right now, I do not know the code. So create a NumPy matrix filled with ones. So what is the code? You can use NumPy.ones. So this is one, or you can see some of the examples, or like this is one of the example, or you can see Stack Overflow is a very good one. So you can follow any of the examples that are given here. Usually for one option, there are multiple ways of doing the same. So you can search all these. NumPy.ones is given here. So you can see some of the examples here like that. Either you can search in the internet depending on the need, or you can look at the manual or the kind of commands that we are covering here. Most of them you can revisit and take the commands from here, or you can search in the internet as well. Let us suppose if I want to fill 5 cross 5 all once, I will say numpy.ones and then mention whatever is the size. Now, if you want to do a little bit of further processing, let us suppose I do not want this type of float values. It is by default, it is taking float 1.000, it is showing point. What if I want to show all the integers? Then you can go to this documentation and check, is there any extra parameter? It says D type, data type. If you want all integers, it says the data type is optional. Desired data type is like numpy integer 8, or default is float 64. You can give numpy.int 8 or int 16. So I would say my data type, D type is another parameter that I'm giving. D type is equal to numpy.int 8, 64, 32 different type of formats are there. I'm saying numpy.int 8. Earlier, it was giving 1.0 float values. Now this is all giving integer values. But from the final calculation point of view, it is not going to make any difference. It's just the formatting that we are checking. Usually we leave it to default values like this. This is one way of creating blank values if there is a need. Usually we don't create like this. Once you're going through somebody else's written code, you tend to see these kind of commands written suddenly in between. Let's say somebody wants to create a matrix, in that they want to fill values. So they're starting with all 0 matrix and slowly filling the values. What exactly it means? It means that we are creating a matrix all filled with zeros. Or sometimes we want to create some random numbers between 10 to 30. I want to create like 10, 12, 14, 15 like that. If you want to create, then you can use something called numpy.arange. It's not arrange, arange. Let's say between 10 to 30 with a gap of 2, 2, 2, 2. I want to create these numbers 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 28. So whatever is between 10 to 30, I want to create values with a gap of 2. If I want to say between 10 to 30, if I want to create with a gap of 5, can you tell me the command? Or with a gap of 4, np.arange with a gap of 4 between 10 to 30 if I want to create it, comma
4.
4. So it has 3 parameters. The first one is starting parameter. This one is ending parameter. Whenever we say ending parameter, is it included or excluded?
Excluded.
30, is it included or excluded? Usually in Python, the last parameter is excluded. So excluding 30. And then this is with a gap of 4. 10 plus 4, 14. 14 plus 4, 18. 18 plus 4, 22. 22 plus 4, 26. 26 plus 4 is 30. But is it printing? No. If I give 31, is it going to print? If I say 31, will I get 30 in the output this time? It will get, because 31 is excluded, 30 is included.
Sir, I have a question. Can we create two-dimensional array using arange?
Two-dimensional array, just check that. Okay. So two-dimensional array using arange. The function arange creates numeric array given start and optional step. Yes, that's the arange inputs 1 to this thing. So try to find it out. Okay. Maybe all of us take that as, like, I haven't tried it, but all of us, we will take this as homework. We should be able to get it. Two-dimensional array creation using arange function. Will you be able to do that, all of you? So try to search for it, not right now, maybe later on. See whether it is first, whether it is possible. If possible, what is the code? If it is not possible, why it is not possible? What is the issue here? So sometimes if you go and hover your mouse here and try to click on this, sometimes it will give you the syntax for it, or if the function is too simple, or you may not get the syntax, or you can directly search for it also. So one easier way is create two-dimensional array using np.arange. So you can also generate using AI option in Google and say enter. So this is the NumPy arange that is created, and then it is trying to do it in a different manner. There is something called reshape. It is reshaping it. So direct creation is not possible. It is creating an array and then converting it into two-dimensional. Okay, this is not what we are looking for. I think you're looking for direct creation, isn't it? So looks like direct creation may not be possible using np.arange. We will create it once, all the numbers, and then arrange them in the two-dimensional manner. And there is something called, this is like with a gap of 2 to 2. There is another way, which is like you have 10 to 30. If you want to slice it into 2 pieces, what are the numbers that will be created? So that is known as linspace. All these options, you may not require it, but just for the sake of checking some of the functions related to NumPy, I'm discussing this. If you want to divide between 10 to 30 into 2 space, so starting point is 10, ending point is 30. Let's say if I say I want to make it into 5 slices. So after 10, you go to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, 25 to 30. So this is, we are making it into a 5 slices. So here we are giving a gap of 2. So it will go standard 2. But here, if you want to make it into 5 slices, these are the numbers that you will get. If you were to make it into 10 slices, these are the numbers that you will get. After 10, you will get 12.2. After that, you will get 14, etc., etc. So this is like 10 slices. If you want to make it into 20 slices, so from 10 to 30, if you want to make it into 20 equal parts in between, these are the numbers. This may not be required, but this may be required. Arange, like after 10 with a gap of 4, 4, what are the numbers that you want to get? You will be using this arange option. This is just another option. Like that, there are n number of functions in NumPy. At this point, what I want to tell you is, there is no point in covering all the functions in NumPy. You see the requirement. Let's say you are solving a problem. When you are solving a problem, there is a requirement that is coming to you. Based on that requirement, you try to find the function. If you see the NumPy documentation, you will find more than 10,000 functions in NumPy. Within NumPy itself, this is too big. If you look at, if you try to cover every function that is possible, that is too big to cover. So what you need to do is, I have a requirement. Let's say I want to create 10 table. To get that requirement, what is the command that I have to use? Try to search for that particular command in the internet. Are you with me, everyone?
Continue with the next video in the playlist. We are covering everything step by step. If you have any questions or the comments, please post them in the comments window below.